The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, hope you can hear me well now. Can you please confirm quickly in the chat panel? And we are sorry for the trouble so far. Thank you so much for the confirmation. And once again, we apologize for the inconvenience. So this is our training schedule spread across 4 weeks, and we are now in week 3 of the schedule. Let's have a quick recap. Like we started our week 1 training showing how to discover various application components such as application server, database server, servers, and more through application discovery and dependency mapping, monitor groups, and user management. Even a video of this and the last week's session will be available in our training webpage for the participants. In our previous session, we discussed the common challenges faced by IT administrators, which is to identify the root cause for server crash, slow applications, memory leak, optimizing application, notifying technician, reports, and so on, which are very necessary for ideal infrastructure. Keeping this in mind, we started this training series in order to help Bob and Susan to face these challenges through Applications Manager. Applications Manager is an on-premise, agentless application performance monitoring tool to monitor your 100+ apps. Before we dive into today's session, let's take a simple web application architecture used in Zin Telco, where Bob and Susan are working. So here are the application components such as database server, application server, web server, proxy servers, and websites that has to be monitored. But still, what am I missing is the thought running in Susan's mind, and probably you all might be thinking the same. Because in our previous training series, we helped Bob to discover various application components, helped him to troubleshoot problems by creating threshold, and notify the technician using various actions that we have. Then we showed Bob how to generate a report, schedule it, and also showed how to build custom dashboard and publish it in their web portal, and much more. So most of the Bob's work has been automated in Applications Manager. Now we wanted to help Susan, who heads the DevOps team. In today's session, we will concentrate on different ways to monitor websites, web server, and services. And we will see how the synthetic transaction monitor can help you to understand user interaction throughout a website, and which can be monitored across geographical location and all together to ensure optimal web performance. Now let's talk the ways with which websites can be monitored. To begin with, we have URL and URL sequence monitoring. URL monitoring monitors single HTTP or HTTPS URL, whereas URL sequence monitors a set of HTTP or HTTPS URLs in sequence. And also in Applications Manager, any HTTP and HTTPS URL can be monitored using URL monitoring. Now, let me switch to the UI and show you the metrics that we monitor. So we have categorized the URL monitoring under web server and services. So when I click on the HTTP URL monitor, I can get the configured URL monitor in Applications Manager. So let me take one example. This is the overview of one of the URL monitoring, where it shows the today availability, the response time splitter, and the page size. Not only that, when you edit the monitor, we have provided various options under HTTP configuration where you can change the submission method. If there are any request parameter, you can provide it here. If there are any authentication required, you can mention it. Or if it requires a specific user agent, you can provide it here. Not only that, if you want to do a content check, you can also do it in this particular monitor. Now, the next monitor which I want to show is the URL sequence monitor. For this, I'm going to click on New Monitor, Add New Monitor. This is another way where you can add monitor individually, any type that you take. Let me scroll down and select URL sequence. Here, you need to click on Download and Install, which means you need to download a recorder tool. So this tool is used in order to record a sequence. So when you click on it, it will take us to the web page where you can download the exe file. The total size is 1.6 MB, so the installation will not take much time. I've already downloaded it in my computer, so I'm going to show you that folder. So it is in my machine under DME transaction recorder, and under bin folder you will find the exe. So I'm going to launch this. Let me minimize the folder. And this is the application that will pop up. So now I want to record a URL sequence. So let me go ahead and type in the website that I want to record. Hit enter key. Click on the sequence that you want to monitor. So I'm going to click a couple of links here for you to show. And then you need to click preview and save. Once you are done, you can click on it. It will ask you for the application manager detail. So I'm going to type in there the details of where my application manager is running, the port information. In case if you are using HTTPS, you can provide the SSL port here. So the username and password, and click login. Once this is done, you will see the sequence that has been captured in Application Manager using this recorder tool. Now in case in this sequence, if you want to remove a link that you do not want, say for example image file or video file or any other link, you can just click on it and click delete URL on the right top. Once this is done, it will remove the URL link from the recorder tool. So I'm going to use my delete key in the keyboard, and I'm going to remove some of the URLs that I don't want to monitor. Even this you can remove it from the monitor page. In case if you want to delete in future, you can also do that. So here it is. Now let me click on next. Provide the sequence name, the polling interval, and verify if the host name and port number of my application manager is correct. Once it is done, click on save. Now you can close this window and quit the application. Go back to the Application Manager UI. Click on the arrow mark beside monitors. I can see that my sequence has been captured, which is App Manager. So when I click on it, it will show you the information about the total response time, the response time splitter, and response time of individual URL. All right. Not only this, you can click on the individual sequence and gather the detail such as the availability, response time, page size, and time splitter. Alright, so the next that I want to talk about is end user experience, because still Susan want to see some real-time information based on end user experience. Alright, right now what we have seen, individual URL, how it can be monitored. For this, we have end user monitoring, or EUM in short. EUM provides the ability to monitor the health and performance of services from multiple locations outside your corporate firewall. This capability provides you a greater visibility into the user experience and behavior of these services and helps in detecting potential performance problem before users are affected. The monitors supported under end-user monitoring includes ping, DNS, LDAP, mail server, and real browser monitoring. Now, let me go ahead and quickly show you how this has to be configured. So this is our UI. We have a separate tab called EUM. When you click on it, it will show you the agent name, which has been deployed in one of the machine, and the monitors which are being collected information using this agent. Now I'm going to log into another server. This is a new server where I'm going to install a new agent. For this, based upon your operating system configuration, you can download the exe file from our website, right click and click on run as administrator. Once you do it, you need to follow the on-screen instruction, and the installation is very simple. All right. So I have already installed it, and I'm going to show you that. So it is running as a service because once the installation was complete, I have to install it as service. So the option has checked, and hence it is running as a service. You can also log into localhost 9999. This is the default port in which the end user monitoring will be running. All right. Now I want to give the application manager machine details, right? For this, I can edit this monitor, provide my application manager information, and update. Once this is updated, we need to restart the end user monitoring agent. So I'm going to open services.msc, right click on end user monitoring, and restart this agent. Since this is a small file, the restart will not take much of the time. Let me minimize this machine, and before that, let me verify if the end user agent is running, and yes, it is. Let me minimize this, go back to the UI, click on EUM tab, and you can see that the agent is available now. Not only this, what you can do is you can also download it from the UI. For this, you can click on add new monitor, scroll down, select real browser monitoring, and from here you can download the agent. I'll come back to this page once again. Now I have installed the agent. I want to run a couple of these are all the ping monitors that I've already added, and it is running in the agent. If I want to add a new monitor, or if I want to do a ping test from the other agent, I can very well go into the monitor page. Let me take another one. So under ping, we show the round trip time, packet statistics. If I go to the monitor page and click on monitor action and edit, I can see that it is running on an agent. Now I can see there are two agents which are listed. So if I want to run it on both agent, I can click on update. Once the update is complete, click on EUM tab, and you can see that the monitor will start collect data from this particular agent machine. So once the poll starts to happen, this will collect the information and show it to you here. Not only that, you can quickly come to the EVM tab, click on the report icon, and you can verify the availability of different monitor based on the agent wise. So if there is any report that you need to generate, you can come here and use the available option to download PDF or CSV format. Let me close this. I'm going to refresh this page and come back again. Now, so this is with respect to the other agent. We want to discuss the real user experience based on the website, right? For this, we have real browser monitoring. So what is real browser monitoring? It is to launch a real browser and mimic the user interaction with your site. And based on that, periodically get the information and show it in the tool, right? For this, we have Application Manager Real Browser Monitoring, which uses bundled Firefox browser. Or even you can import your Selenium IDE test cases into Applications Manager, and we show the collected information. So what has to be done? You have to record a playback of the websites, and you have to install the EVM agent on branch location or different geographical location. Based on that, the playback will start to happen and data will be pushed to Applications Manager. So when you record a website, it will record and playback from the browser. It will include the action that you click on the website and capture it. So once you have added the monitor, we show the multi-user interactions based on different steps that you have performed and the page load time and the health statistics of that particular step that you did or the link that you action that you did. Not only that, you can get the response time from different location, right? As I showed you how a ping monitor can be updated with a different agent. Likewise, for real browser monitoring also, you can perform the playback from different agent. So here we have two different agent named Texas and New York. So that is performing the playback from different location, and it is showing you the response time and the availability of the website. Not only that, we capture the screen action that has been performed. Based on that, the resource count will be displayed, and for example, how much is the size of image is used in that particular step, and based on the resource count percentage, the resource size will be calculated. Not only that, we also show the waterfall model of the captured sequence, and here we'll show you the time, DNS time, network latency time of a particular URL. Now I'm going to show you a quick demo on it. Let me first take you to the UI. Now, as I said, you can click on New Monitor, Add New Monitor, click on Real Browser Monitoring. So here we have a record and playback transaction using Firefox-based RBM, and also you can import your existing test cases which has been developed in your Selenium IDE. So in order to create Firefox-based RBM, you need to click on it, and you need to download the Real Browser Recorder tool, because that will capture the sequence that you want to monitor. Now, once this is downloaded, you can install it. Again, I have installed this in my machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that application for you. So it is an icon in my desktop, so I'm going to double click on it, and here you go. So this is my Real Browser Recorder application. Now, in this screen, what you need to provide is the Application Manager host name, right? From where you want to add this monitor and see the details. All right. For this, you need to provide the host details. So let me provide it, which is app support. And the SSL port, you need to provide the SSL port. Okay, so make sure that you are providing that. So it is 844.4, and you need to click connect. Once you click on it, oops, I made a mistake. So if you see here, if we are giving the hostname incorrectly, it is going to throw an error message, right? So I'm going to click on connect once again, and here you go. So it is asking for the username and password. All right. So I'm going to provide the username, password, and click login. So once this page is available, I can type in the web page that I want to monitor. So let's start. So I'm going to take Amazon.com. I'm going to click a link here. And I'm just going to show you the preview and save option here. So on the right top, you can see the button. Click on preview and save. So here is the action that has been captured in the website. Okay, so this I want to monitor, right? So I can click on next and choose the agent from where I want to perform the playback, right? I can give a monitor name, select the agent from where I want to perform. Even you can associate this to monitor group from the recorder tool itself. All right. So when I click on save, it will automatically get added and it will be shown in the respective monitor group. Even you have an option to perform a test playback. So when you click on it, the actual test playback will be performed before the addition of the monitor. So what happens is it will connect to the respective agent, do the test playback, and it will show you the result. Then you can go ahead and perform the recording again if needed, or else you can go ahead and save the monitor. So I'm just going to save this monitor. Okay, since I already have it, let me just make it as and save it. So now the monitor has been added successfully, and we can minimize this screen, and let's go to the EUM tab again. So the one which I've added, it will be available here, and I've chosen both the agent, so it is available. So it will take some time to do the playback and gather the data from the individual agent. Now your next question would be, is it possible to change this agent machine name? It is possible. On the right top, you have a button called locations. And here you have an edit button. So I'm going to click this and change the machine to the location name, all right, or any business name that you want to give. So I'm going to give the location name, close this, and change it the other agent as well. Close this. So now when I click on the EUM tab, based upon the location or the name that I've given, it will show you the data. All right. Now let me show you the information under the real browser monitoring, how the data will look like. Okay. So this is one of the website that I've captured. It will show you the steps that I performed in the website and the response time of it, page load time. And when I click on this recording that I've done for this website, I can see the availability, page load time, transaction time, page load time for each step that I performed during the recorder. And even what you can do is you can select any of the step that you do not want. You can delete it, disable it, and even you can compare the report by selecting this option. So based on page load time, you can compare the report. So if I scroll down a bit down, I can see the screenshots that has been captured. And based upon the resource count percentage, you can see that the CSS file is 51%. And the image is 45%. All right. But the resource size percentage, if you take, it is the whole data captured for that particular link. So that's why here the CSS is 64 and the image is 35%. Now, if I scroll down, and I can show you for the step 1, the waterfall information and the link, which is amazon.com, here it shows. Let me scroll a bit up. That what is the start time, redirection time, if there is any network latency, if there is any download time, blocking time, and much more. Let me scroll down a bit down. So here you can see the CSS and the time it took to load. Even the images, we show you the detail. We show you the split up. So when I scroll down, here you can see the attribute that we monitor for this particular step. All right. Great. Now, so why do we need an end user monitoring feature? Because it measures the multi-page workflow for different websites. You can test web apps prior to launch. You can do test critical pages and path tests. Based on this, you can verify what is the bottleneck and you can rectify it. The next that I want to talk about is the word defacement. It is the latest buzzword where many website has been defaced. So what is website defacement? It is an attack on a website that changes the visual appearance of the site or a web page. Website defacement is when a hacker compromises a web server and changes the data on the page. So how Application Manager lets you monitoring? We can do the website defacement for any unauthorized addition or modification of the following HTML elements, such as text, script, image, anchor, iframe, and link defacement. Let me go ahead and show you that in the UI. I can click on the Monitor tab. Here I have already added a website content monitoring, so let me take you to that page. Now here you can see that the health is critical because the first link is defaced because of the text and the second link is defaced because of the anchor. I'm going to talk about this. Before this, when you add a website content monitoring in Applications Manager, let me show you what options you will get. So I'm going to edit the monitor. So when you provide a domain URL, you can click on Get Web Pages. It will fetch the href link information from the domain URL that you provide to list out all the link that is available under href. And you have an option to select the URL that you want to monitor for defacement. Not only that, we have provided the threshold option available and you can put the value here itself. So this is a mandatory field. So for testing purpose, I have provided the threshold value as 2% for both the URL. All right. And I'm going to show you the information how we display in Applications Manager. So let me cancel this. First, let me go to this link. The first link will show you the page size and defacement percentage detail. This is common across the link that you are monitoring under website content monitoring. Now here, if you see a tab called defaced text element, when I click on it, It will show me the original content of the website that was captured during the edition of this particular website using this monitor type, and we are showing the modified content here. So you can compare what has been modified, and in case if it is a legitimate modification done by your team, you have an option to change and override this using the click here button. And in case if there is any changes done in the script, the deface script element will be displayed in another tab. Now let me take you to the other link and show you the remaining elements. So other element defaced, which will show you the image, anchor, iframe, and link information. So if there is any modification done, we show it under this tab. So there are three tabs. One, deface text element, deface script element, and other elements. Now that we have seen different ways to monitor your websites, starting with the simple URL monitoring to end user monitoring using real browser monitoring in Applications Manager, and how you can monitor if there is any defacement happen in your website. Now we are going to talk about web server and web services. So in Applications Manager, we have web server such as Apache, Microsoft IIS. We have reverse proxy server like Nginx. In case if you are using a search framework in your website, we have Elasticsearch for you to monitor. In case if you want to monitor your SSL certificate, you can make use of it. And apart from this, we have SOAP and REST API monitoring for web services. Now, I'm going to show you the metrics that we monitor for these types. So again, in the UI, I'm clicking on Monitors tab. Let me take Apache server. Go to the monitor page. So here we show the request time, request detail, byte transfer, busy server information for the Apache server. Now, I'm going to show you for Nginx what are all the metrics that we monitor. Let me click on it. I'm sorry, somehow it is down now, but we show the response time, active connection, and different request parameters. The next monitor type, Elasticsearch. So we discover the nodes within the Elasticsearch, and we show the cluster information that has been discovered and the shards count, node split up information, and under overview tab for each node we show various attributes. Let me click on one of the node. So here we show memory details, IO details, thread details, and network information for each node that has been discovered under Elasticsearch. The next monitor type I want to show is web services, the SOAP request that you can monitor. Let me click on it. So this is the monitor page of web service which uses SOAP. So we have to provide the endpoint and WSDL path. And what you can do is you can monitor the operations available in that SOAP. So I have an operation here. It shows the execution time of that request and the status of it. So based on this, you can create a threshold and notify the user. You can also click on the view details in icon, and it will show you the information about what is the endpoint, WSDL path, what is the SOAP response that you got, and the execution time. So when I go ahead and edit this monitor, I have this information. In case if you want to change the endpoint, you can very well go ahead and do it. Let me cancel this. And if you want to add additional operation, you can click add operation, choose the operation name, what SOAP action you need to perform, and if there is any, you need to provide the name of this particular operation. So once this is done, you can save it, and the respective information will be shown in Applications Manager. I want to talk about REST API next. First, let me take you to one of the monitor page. Okay. Before that, let me click Add New Monitor. Scroll down and select REST API Monitor. So the information that we provide, you need to provide the API URL, timeout, the submission method, and most importantly that I want to talk about is the response time. So if it is a text output, you can select it, or otherwise XML or JSON. So if it is a text, we have provided an option to do a content check. So you can select it, provide the option for content check, and give the value and update. If it is an XML, you need to write your XSLT code and get the information from the REST API. And again, if it is a JSON, you can write a code so that it will fetch the necessary information that you need. Now, I want to show a quick demo on how you can create a REST API monitor. For this, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to open a notepad. This is a REST API feature available in Applications Manager, which pulls out show poll data of a particular monitor. So now what I need to do for this is to replace the App Manager host and port. So I'm going to copy the URL. And the operation that I want to perform, that is show poll data. I need to replace the API key. For this, you need to go to the UI, click Admin tab, click REST API, and copy the API key. This you need to copy it here. The next section is resource ID. So resource ID of a particular monitor. How we can pull it? Let me show you. So I'm going to copy this key, put it here. Take a monitor. For instance, let's take a PG-SQL monitor. Let me go to the monitor detail page. And I'm going to capture connection statistics, and the attribute that I want to pull is active connections. So I'm going to click on this. So here you will not be able to find the attribute ID directly, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm copy the URL, close this, go to my notepad and paste the URL link that I've captured. So here you can find the resource ID of the monitor. So I'm going to copy this resource ID and replace it here. Then I'm going to replace the attribute ID, active connection, right? So I'm going to replace that. So where you can find, here is the attribute ID. All right. So I'm going to copy this, minimize this window, click new monitor, add new monitor, REST API, display name. So it's going to be show poll data, my REST API URL, timeout. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Choose JSON method. I can click on test credential in case if you have provided username and password, you can do the test credential. So it got paused and add the monitor. So click on monitor details. It will take you to the monitor page, and under the response detail, you will get the JSON output. All right. So what I'm going to do is, let me pull this monitor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this JSON output, and I have opened a JSON editor. So here is the output. Let me expand this. So what I'm going to do is I need the raw data, right? So let me just minimize the notepad or make it small and copy the code. So it is going to be response dot result, and that's the starting position as 0, and I need raw data, right? So here is the raw data. I'm going to select. It is a case sensitive, so we need to make sure that we are providing the name correctly. So when I click on raw data and expand it, okay, since it has a large number, it's taking time. So raw data under 0, I'm going to select the value. So raw data, the first position 0 and value. So this is what I need. All right. So I'm going back to the App Manager UI. I'm going to add JSON schema here. So the attribute name, I'm going to give it as value, colon, and the value that I need. Now I can click on update, poll the monitor, wait for it to refresh. If I scroll down, you can see the value is available here. For this, you can click on threshold, here the action icon, and configure the alarm if required. You can click on the value and get the show poll data of that particular attribute. All right. Now, in case if you want another attribute to be added, what you can do is click on add or view JSON schema again. And since we have pulled raw data of 0th position, I need it for first position as well. So I can add it and update this JSON schema, poll the monitor, wait for the page to load. And the value will be available in the next poll. All right. Similarly, I want to show the XML part. So REST API using XML. So I have already added a monitor. Let me quickly show you. So what you can do is you can pull out the data, provide the XSLT code, add it here, and pull the necessary information. So what I did is I pulled the attribute name and today's availability percentage. So this is a monitor group REST API that I used. In that, it is pulling out the monitor group name and the percentage in value. For this, you can go ahead and configure action if needed and pull the reports. Now, so with the discussion so far, I have created few questionnaires for you. Please take your time and answer these. No need to put it in the chat panel, just you can keep it with yourself. So we can wait for a few seconds. All right, so let's see the answers. Here you go. Hope you might have got all right. So the first question, does App Manager has option to do content check and URL monitoring? Yes, we do. Does App Manager has option to rename the end user monitoring agent name instead of machine name? Yes. Does App Manager provide an option to add additional URL in website content monitoring? Yes. Does App Manager has option to monitor REST API and SOAP request? Yes, we do. Finally, does App Manager support monitoring of SSL certificates? Yes, we do. So now that Susan is somewhat okay that she could monitor the end user experience, but still she need more real-time information how the end-to-end transaction is to happen across the entire infrastructure, right? And for this, please join our next free training session. So a quick recap, we saw how websites can be monitored in different ways, components of websites that can be monitored, and end user experience using the real browser monitoring. Now it's time for Q&A session. I'll be handing over this session to one of our panelists, Arun. And before I leave, for your information, there will be a separate survey at the end of the session, and we kindly request you all to provide your valuable feedback. And sorry for the initial trouble once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Silva. I hope you guys found the session interesting. We did get some interesting questions, and we have captured some of the frequently asked questions, and we'll be answering them now in the session. If you can just give me one moment, I'll load the questions, and we can start the Q&A session. Sorry for the delay. Let me start with the first question. So there were a few questions asking if dynamic URLs can be monitored using Applications Manager. Yes, you can have some custom fields or custom information that you can provide into Applications Manager, which will be replaced during each polling and will be available for monitoring within Applications Manager. So there are a few websites which can be accessed only through a specific browser. Can APM be configured to monitor such URLs? So this is where one of our features of using user agents in Applications Manager comes into play. A user agent is basically is like providing information about a user to the actual website that is being monitored, that is being browsed. So each individual user will be given a unique user agent based on the browser that he is using. So you can configure user agents to access certain website, and it can be done in Applications Manager as well. So there are few websites which can be accessed only if proxy is configured in the remote server that is being that is being used as the EUM agent server. So we do provide an option to configure proxy servers in EUM agent so that the RBM still works without any issues. Let me show you quickly as to how you can configure a proxy server in the UEM agent. If you actually look at the screen right now, you will actually find the UEM agent settings page. Over here, you will actually have an option which says enable proxy. So all you need to do is just click on edit over here, and all the editable information will be highlighted. Just check the enable proxy information, enable proxy option, then provide your proxy host, proxy port, the username and password if it is authenticated, and if you have certain addresses which you want to exclude from the proxy server. So this is an option that is available, and once it is added and you click on update, the EM agent will use the proxy information given to access to all the URLs that you have added for your RBM monitor. So in the website content monitor, where you use an option to monitor websites and see if it is defaced or not, you can select multiple URLs to monitor a website content monitor. So the number of URLs that you can add in a single monitor is 10. So you can add up to 10 URLs in a single website content monitor. So one of the web servers that Applications Manager supports is the IAS server. IAS server monitor can monitor the IAS server's performance by monitoring its response time. In addition to that, you can also monitor the application pools that are available within the IAS server. In order to monitor the application pools, you will need WMI enabled in the application manager. So for that, you'll have to add the host server where the IIS is running as a Windows monitor with WMI mode of authentication. Let me just show you an example. So here you have an IAS monitor which is being currently monitored in Applications Manager. You can see its website statistics and application pools listed, and the performance metrics of both these topics. So in order for you to see both these options, you will have to have the host server where the IAS is running added into Applications Manager as a Windows monitor with WMI. So once you have a server like this and a few permissions added into into the IAS server, we'll be able to monitor the application pools in Applications Manager. You looked at the REST API monitor that is available in Applications Manager. One of the questions that was asked is if the reports for those attributes are available by default. So by default, we only store the pooled data of the monitor in Applications Manager. If you'd like historical archive data for this monitor or the attributes captured in this monitor, you will have to enable it manually. You will have that option in the monitor page. Let me just quickly show it to you. So for example, in this REST API monitor, we have already configured the monitor to show these values within Applications Manager. As you can see, some of them are numeric data, and for numeric attributes, we do support enabling archiving so that you can view historical data. For such attributes, you will find this history icon present. So for these attributes, you can enable archiving to see reports. So in order to enable them to store archive data, just click on enable reports after checking these attributes, and then archiving will be enabled for them. So after the first hour of monitoring, the first archiving will happen, and in future you will have reports for the period defined. So Applications Manager has an option to monitor Elasticsearch. So for monitoring Elasticsearch, you provide the Elastic cluster information, and it will discover all the nodes that are present within the Elastic cluster. So each individual Elasticsearch node will be considered as an individual monitor. And if you want to disable certain nodes so that you are licensed only for selective nodes, you can disable them by going into the bulk configuration option in Applications Manager. Let me quickly show it to you. So clicking on this option will list all the Elasticsearch nodes that are present that are being monitored in Applications Manager. The ones that you would like to disable, just select them using this checkbox and then choose the option Unmanage. Once you choose this option Unmanage, Applications Manager will stop monitoring those nodes, and they will not be considered or counted for license. The other question that was asked is to explain how EUM add-ons license works. So EUM agent or the EUM monitoring in Applications Manager is an add-on. An add-on is basically a one-time fee that you pay to get the option enabled within Applications Manager. Once it is enabled, you can add as many locations as you want within Applications Manager. You will not be restricted on the number of locations that you can have. However, the number of monitors that you associate to each monitors will be included in your total monitoring count, and that will be licensed, and so you will only be restricted by the total number of monitors, EUM or otherwise, that you have in Applications Manager. Finally, the last question is that was asked is if we monitor SSL certificate and if we can capture and the expiry of the SSL certificates. And the answer is yes, we can monitor SSL certificate in Applications Manager. The expiry date, not just the expiry date, but the days to expire will also be calculated by Applications Manager. Once that is captured, we do provide an option to define thresholds wherein you can be notified a few days before your SSL certificate expires for you to renew the SSL certificate as necessary. Let me just quickly show that option to you. So here you have this SSL certificate of zoho.com being monitored, and as you can see, the expiry date of the certificate used and the days to expire is available. So in order to be notified when the expiry date is closer, you can just click on configure alarms. The days to expire option will be there, and you can choose to notify you like 15 days or 20 days or 30 days before the certificate expires, so that you can take the necessary steps to have it renewed. So that brings us to the end of the Q&A session. Let me just quickly brief you as to what are the topics that will be covered next week, that is on the 14th of February at 11:30 a.m. EST. The topics are visibility and complete insight into your applications, that is within your application infrastructure, identifying the application components, that is individual component within the application server where you might face performance bottleneck, identifying which SQL queries are slowing down your website applications performance, and finally also to know and monitor the JVM performance of your application server. So that brings us to the close. The chat panel will be left active for a few more minutes for you to ask any other questions that you have. And before I leave, just a quick reminder, there will be a survey to rate the presentation today. Please provide your valuable feedback so that we can improve it in the future. Thank you.